Until the end of the 19th century, the Danube was, for the most part, a free-flowing, meandering river with a varied landscape of gorges and wide floodplains. Constant regulation since has reduced much of the river to a barren chain of dams linked by canals. According to a UN report, this has led to the destruction of more than 80% of the Danube's wetlands. Just across the border from Austria, the Gacikovo Canal and Dam is the biggest hydroelectric project on the upper Danube. First conceived by the communist governments of Hungary and Czechoslovakia, the project was eventually completed by the Slovaks in 1992, after the post-communist Hungarian government pulled out. This is all that's left of the mighty Danube now, as it flows from Slovakia into Hungary.
The building of dams along the river essentially means that the river itself, the water is going through the main channel, and it doesn't get then into the floodplain area where waters would naturally go. Floodplain forests are the most productive habitats. In fact, they're equivalent to rainforests because they're constantly receiving nutrients, they're in water, and are extremely productive habitats. And when they are not getting that water, they are becoming less productive and less able to sustain the type of life that would exist there.
If you dam a river, you have to cut off the wetlands from the river system. And then you will see that the groundwater on both sides is stagnating, putrefying, losing oxygen, and completely unusable for drinking purposes. Now the groundwater under the wetlands is the best drinking water of the lowlands, with no nitrates, no pesticides. But if you make a stagnating subterranean swamp out of the groundwater, it will deteriorate and you will lose a large potential of drinking water.
The Millennium Development Goals are extremely important to the European Union, and they have to do with the right of access to clean drinking water, with an increasing shortage of water, with more and more of our groundwaters being polluted. We will see more and more conflicts over water if we cannot create access to clean drinking water for all those who need it and who lack it today.
In 1991, during the war following the breakup of Yugoslavia, this wetland area on the Croatian side of the Danube was occupied by the Yugoslav army. It was from here that they shelled the city of Osijek. After reconciliation in 1995, the national park of Kopački Rit was returned to Croatian control. But much of the park is still a no-go zone because of the minefields laid in the war. Ironically, these may actually help protect the wildlife here. It's an area of floodplain typical of what may be lost if the EU transport policy goes ahead.
Kopački Rit as a nature park has been protected since 1967. It's famous in Europe. Ornithologists from all over the world have really heard about it. But the tourism is just starting to develop now because after the Homeland War, which finished in 1995 with the peaceful reintegration of this area, people have started to come back into this area, and we're trying to find ways to make a living here. So one of the ways to make a living here is ecotourism. There are a couple of functions that wetlands fulfill and that are very important. One of them is that they serve as a natural flood defense. When the waters are really high and they tend to overflow their banks, it's the wetlands that serve as sponges and then retain all the water. And as the water is retained in the wetlands, it also gets purified because all the soil particles and all the things that come with the water and are inside it get left behind on roots of the plants and so on. So it purifies water as well, and we get really good drinking water from wetlands.
This unique water purification process is critical not just to the welfare of the Danube, but to the health of all the people who depend on it. Almost all Hungary's population depends on the Danube and its tributaries for drinking water. And yet large cities like Hungary's capital Budapest have limited sewage treatment plants, and discharge huge amounts of human and industrial waste directly into the river. And in Belgrade, it's no better.
Actually, Danube is big sewer because from whole Yugoslavia, municipal waste and some of industrial waste has been released in Danube without any kind of treatment. There are no wastewater treatment plants along Danube River. Particularly serious issues are city of Belgrade and city of Novi Sad, which are rather big cities, and municipal wastewaters are discharged without any previous treatment. We don't consider this as a big deal because, as to my best knowledge, cities of Milano in Italy and Brussels in Belgium also didn't solve their wastewater treatment problems. However, we cannot say that water quality in Danube River is poor because it's a huge water body and the self-purification capacity of that river is extremely significant.
But it's this self-purification capacity that's now jeopardised as the wetlands are destroyed by new locks and dams which interrupt the river's flow and trap pollution.